guys, Wiz here, Wiz as in wisdom. I'm just gonna freehand a little skit for the hell of it. I had the intention to craft something with a bit more intention than just sitting down to freestyle. But I don't know, I feel like it could use a bit more time. So why don't we talk about Christmas? Talk about Santa Claus. There's not really a big idea or a bottom line here. Just thought it might be fun to share some little observations and things throughout the week. I guess my first question is, how does Christmas feel to you? I guess the Christmas spirit comes to mind. When I was younger, you would notice something distinct about the winter season. Things would start to change. There'd be all these festivities, and I wonder what it is about that designation of celebration and of seasons changing, and just the decorating, that sense of intention that goes into celebration, and that change that you feel in your bones almost. And it's one thing, I remember I'd be in the mall and things would be changing and there would be different colors, and there was always like a sweet nostalgia to it as I got older. But I guess to really touch more deeply into that sense, I wonder if it's change. It's the experience of change. It's the natural ebb and flow of nature. And winter is interesting. I remember when I was younger, I had this thought that there's only really 2 seasons when you think about it. I mean, there's 4, technically, but maybe there's only even 1 season. It gets warm or it gets cool, and then you just have the, intermediary halfway points and everything else in between. And it's almost like that flow of nature, of life, that cycle. It's almost like we intuitively feel it, we track with that. I had someone mention to me that winter is a time of retreat, of going into ourselves, of contemplation, of slowing down. And I've maybe consciously ran with that after hearing that, but have really felt that lately. A time of slowing down, of really retreating, and going back to the festivities, to the Christmas spirit, to this whole lovely thing. It's only seemed to fade as I've gotten older. I mean, the gifts and the promised land of waking up on Christmas morning, that whole thing was always very exciting as a kid. I remember being up early in the morning with my brother, waiting, wondering if Santa came. It's interesting, my parents had friends over and they were talking about when they first dropped the ball on their kids of there not being a Santa. Sorry to break it to you guys, spoiler alert, but turns out it was just mom and dad all along. But why is that? Why? What do I mean? What do I mean by that? What's the whole Santa thing about? Why bother? Why play this whole game? I feel like celebration is something kind of awkward. How does Christmas feel to you? I'll tell you how it feels to me. Having to carefully portion and ration my spending a la gift giving for the season, or to hear from my mom that Aunt Inga spent this much, so you must do this, and all these sort of particularities in gray area, and the thought of things being returned, or making sure to get something in a certain, all these little particularities to everything. And just the financial aspect and all of the drama, and having family together, and having all of the ambiguities and crutches and little things that go under the hood for only so long until it causes a fuse in the system, and the front of the car is smoking up and bubbling, and logistics and getting around, and all these moving parts. It makes the idea of celebration, of a genuine practice and act of selflessness, such a thing, such a brief quip of grace, perhaps, really makes such a thing rather unsavory. I heard this thought that gift giving is impossible. It's a fool's notion, because there's always some necessary human economy, blah blah blah, and it's funny. It's kind of not a very nice notion, isn't it? Not a very nice notion, but it would seem as if that's really largely the case in our world. Everything is so transactional, so calculated. And by this world, I largely mean myself. I think it's so easy to talk about the world, isn't it? And rightly so. We ought to individuate ourselves and become self-aware and designate and see difference, I believe. But only through similarity, only through recognizing that same world I see out there, I know through myself, through my own activity, and I'm related to and impinge and am impinged upon by that same world. I wonder if I've gotten coal for Christmas. I have a thought in the back of my mind of a homeless gentleman who's parked his tent up the street at the park. And I was in the car driving back from work, and I actually received a couple gifts from my piano students, which is really nice. It was funny. How did I want to put this? I've been thinking about these things: self, other, love, gift giving, selflessness, all the relations between us and others, and how all that gets on. And this act of receiving, I heard, and I'm going to come back to the homeless person, maybe we'll conclude with that. Come back to this little piece I heard from Meister Eckhart when I was reading a little bit of his stuff I picked up at the library, who's an old German Christian mystic. He's like pretty big wig in the mystical Christianity tradition, and he says, I don't remember the specifics, and I don't remember a lot of what I read from him, at least not in words, maybe somewhere deep within my gut. But he said that to receive genuinely, I don't know if he said it was as good or if it was better than to give. Isn't that interesting? Why do we have problems with receiving? Why do we have problems with receiving? I want to do a video one day on I'm sorry, and on thank you, and on you're welcome, and everything that comes with that, and why that has a bit of a bite to it. So I received a gift, and it was very nice. It was very touching, and the student who I work with, sometimes a bit of extra patience is required. It's a real opportunity, and there was a sense of real consideration or a value in the card that I got. And it was funny, they gave me a little jar of little bits, snacks, I don't know, it was a little outside of what you would expect, and it was very lovely. And it was funny, there was a little thing in the back of my mind that was like, what if it was because of this, or because of that, or had to make it into something. There was something genuine that I felt. And then there is that thing in the back of my mind. And I noticed a lot of that thing lately. I've really been sticking my dentistry tool into that cavity and feeling that sticky gunk, And no fun. That's a real bother. This thing that wants to destroy that wants to pick a hole in it. And it wants to take a piece of skin off. It's really rather uncomfortable because that doesn't go so well with that nice glowing feeling I have in my stomach and that sense of appreciation, of connection, right? That thing that the whole gift giving is all about. But I had a deep laugh that felt like warm pudding in the bottom of my stomach. So I take that as just a little triumph of good over bad. So. And you see, I have a thought in the back of my mind when I think about that gentleman up the street, and I am in the car on the way back from work, and I feel just the, brittle death of winter in the air. Well, it puts things into perspective, honestly. But you want to help. You see everything around. You feel the satisfaction of this belly. And you imagine otherwise, right? That whole thing. It's funny, my brother and I drove past someone with a sign, and it set me off. I felt anxious. I wanted to avoid eye contact, right? That whole thing. It's tough. I had a $10 bill in my wallet, and I decided that I didn't want to give a $10 bill. The gamification of care. It's really a struggle. It's really been a struggle lately, and I think it's in this season of, I don't know, giving, of Christmas, Christ, whatever he could be on about. Maybe that brings this question of giving and receiving to the forefront. And I wonder what we really receive in the winter as we, go into ourselves, as we take the time to do a real inventory, to slow down, and to, feel into what's around, what's in our mind, what's in our hearts. Maybe it's not the time to eat too much, to overindulge. I'm kind of running out of things to say. This idea of receiving and the struggle with that, to really accept, to really take something, to really feel gratitude. I wonder how that relates to my anxiety when I notice my own natural obligation to others. I wonder if I can only receive when I'm willing to give. And I wonder if I'm only willing to give when I'm able to receive. And I think it's one thing to give. It's one thing for me to go to the store and get my family Christmas shopping over with and put on a happy face when I go see my aunt and play this whole game. You know, and it's one thing to receive something for Christmas, you know, have a new toy, you know, be on Santa's good list, be on Santa's good list. And I think this goes back to where we started with, what is Santa Claus about? Why do the parents bother? Why do we engage in such trickery? And I wonder if it's the parents who are really the biggest fools in the game and who really fall for it the most until the kids. Because when I was younger, I wanted to hide under the couch and I was going to see if Santa was real. I was going to figure it out. And I would talk honestly with my parents about it. Like, it was interesting to me. It was like soul searching almost. Because I think it reminds us of this mystery of giving and taking. And I say mystery because only a fool would deny the possibility of genuinely giving a gift. As much as only a fool would deny that such a thing was ever actually possible of a human being. And I think Santa, in his naughty and nice list, seeing you when you're sleeping, knowing when you're awake, and being good for goodness sake, it's a real opportunity to, you know, stick the dentist pick, perhaps. And maybe to indulge a bit, to receive in the winter so that we can give in the summer, so that we can bloom. Receive what? Receive what? You know, I don't know. I think having a what would defeat the purpose of reception, of the heart and soul of another. So, I'll be back soon enough. Maybe you'll understand once I, hopefully, get on with something else. But, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas wherever you are, whatever you're up to. I hope you receive something. And, I don't know. I feel like Christmas can be really tough. Somehow. I feel like it's tough. And maybe you feel the same way for some reasons, for whatever the hell is going on. So maybe this can be a little bit of a celebration, this video. It's something to do with Christmas. Remember those times when we felt that spirit, that change in the air, that thing in the air. I wonder what that is. So enjoy yourself as you can. Goodbye. Merry Christmas and all the best in the new year. Peace.